and inability to kill these pet projects that are distracting from your core mission and your core business objectives is exactly what's holding you back. I have worked with hundreds of different founders, and I see this all the time, especially with companies that are hitting a growth plateau and they're not moving forward. That problem is almost never market saturation. It's not the economy or terrorists or whatever the fuck Meta is doing this week. Normally, it is our inability to either kill pet projects, things that should have been buried a long time ago, or our inability to focus on the most important things we need to get done. The reality is that every company has a finite number of resources, right? Even if you're the best funded company in the world, there's only so many resources that you have. You have to allocate those effectively. And the most valuable of those resources is your attention and the attention of your team. I work in advertising. People spend billions of dollars for 30 seconds, 60 seconds of somebody's attention, right? Our attention is super valuable. And then we maybe like in your personal life, you think, oh, my attention's valuable. I'm not going to watch this garbage. I'm not going to spend an hour on TikTok scrolling, right? But then you run a company that has the equivalent of that going on. There's all these things, a whirlwind of things taking attention that are not valuable, are not giving you anything. We have these psychological factors that hold us back from making these decisions that we need to make. There's a sunk cost fallacy where you think you've invested all this time, all this money into something, and if you give up now, it would be a waste. If you're not getting something from it, your choice is to either waste more or stop wasting. Then there is our bias. We're always biased in favor of the decisions that we have made. In hindsight, we gather evidence to justify the decisions that we've made in the past. But none of us are making decisions correctly 100% of the time. Nobody is making the right decision 100% of the time. Ray Dalio says that the quality of this life that you're going to live is based off of the quality of the decisions that you're making. But if you don't take an objective look at the decisions that you're making, you're not going to be improving the decisions that you're making. And often this ties into our identity. We want to be a person who makes good decisions. You don't become a person who makes good decisions by deceiving yourself into thinking that every decision you made was the right decision. You make good decisions by objectively sitting down and saying, was that the right decision? Yes or no, right? And doing less of the ones that were not the right decision. We have this rationalization about the future value of something. We might need this someday. We want options down the road. This hypothetical value does not outweigh the real value of doubling down on the stuff that's working today. And often there's interpersonal cost to it, right? Organizational politics, disappointing people, disappointing yourself. Maybe it's your own pet project. You're going to disappoint yourself if you kill it. Often there are these real structural, like office politic barriers for making those decisions that we need to make. I am a big advocate for a decision-making log, especially these big decisions that you are facing. What data did you digest to make the decision? What did you decide to do? What do you expect to get out of that? What results do you expect to see? And then look back at the end of the month, at the end of the next month, look back. Did you obtain what you wanted to obtain, what you thought you were going to obtain? And if you're embarking in a new initiative, a new project, think about what it would take to kill that project. If it went poorly, how would you make that decision to kill it? Are there numbers? Customer acquisition cost of this amount, or if it brought back any less than 25% net revenue, anything like that, just to determine your criteria for making that decision. And then after you've executed on it, go back. What are the results? It's easy to rationalize things after the fact. You thought this was going to change the whole dynamic. And then 6 months down the road, it's moved the needle 9%, and you keep it because it moved the needle 9%. But was that energy and that effort worth the 9%? Could that energy and effort be better spent on something that's going to give you 50% or 100% boost? If you have a whirlwind of projects going on, sit down at a predefined cadence and evaluate which ones need to be cut. If you're already focused, go to the other extreme. What one thing needs my focus this week? What one thing should my team be focused on this week? The reality is that our careers are made by a very small amount of hours. The majority of our working life is emails and calls and Zoom calls and Zoom calls and Zoom calls. And that deep work, the work that defines your entire career, happens in a very small amount of hours. For most people, it's about 100 hours. By setting your sights on those most important things you can do, you can double that, right? And run laps around your competition because you're squeezing out more this week than they are. If you keep doing that, if you keep crossing off the most biggest factor holding your company back week after week after week, maybe some of these things require a month. Some of them are big problems, big projects. So maybe it's not realistic 1 week. But certainly there is something this week. If nothing else changed and you did one thing this week that drove the biggest return to your company and you kept doing that, you're going to be in a radically different spot than where you are right now. So figure out what you need to cut. Think a lot about how you're making these decisions. Are you making the right decisions? Hold yourself accountable for it. Hold your team accountable for it. And you're going to be removing bottlenecks and moving your company growth to these next stages that you're trying to get to. If you have questions, drop me a